Now we will move on to Module 3, BioSafety. Let's start by discussing the term universal precautions. This is the idea when we consider all human blood and body fluids as potentially infectious for bloodborne pathogens and use protective measures to prevent exposure and infection. These protective measures include practices such as hand washing, decontamination of work surfaces, wearing PPE, safe use and disposal of needles and sharps, cleaning spills involving biohazardous materials, and proper disposal of biohazardous waste. When we talk about biohazardous waste, we are referring to any waste that is contaminated with a BSL-2 biological agent, has recombinant DNA, or contains human blood or blood products. Biohazardous sharps waste, such as needles, syringes, and razor blades, are disposed of in the red benchtop sharps containers. Remember not to overfill a sharps container because this can lead to a needle stick injury. All other solid biohazardous waste is disposed of in gray containers lined with red biohazard bags. You should tie off red bags when they are 3/4 full and not overfilled. If they are overfilled, you will experience issues such as materials puncturing the bag or difficulty tying the bag. Put the tied off red bags in the red barrels for disposal. Now we're going to go over some important safety practices when working with the Biological Safety Cabinet, or the BSC. BioSafety cabinets operate by using a HEPA filter and directional airflow to provide containment for biological hazards and to prevent you and your sample from becoming contaminated. Research is protected by an air curtain drawn through the front grille of the BioSafety cabinet, and this prevents contaminated air from exiting. That's why you don't want to block the front grille. Also, the return air slots at the back of the BSC help to protect your work from contamination, and when you block these slots, you risk contaminating your work. In order to make sure the hoods are functioning correctly, the labs are responsible for having them certified annually by an outside company. Make sure that you don't work in a BSC that does not have current certifications. Also, remember not to use any open flames because they can disrupt the airflow and allow contamination to enter. Remember, if the sash of the BSC is open, the blower motor should be kept on. And if the UV light is on for decontamination, keep the sash closed. The Guardian canister is commonly used for aspiration of tissue culture media in the BSC. But before you begin using it, you want to make sure that it's hooked up correctly. Make sure that there is an inline HEPA filter hooked up that prevents overflow of what you're working with into the house vacuum system. Also, you want to make sure that the vacuum line is hooked up only to the vacuum port located on the top of the Guardian canister. The reason you only want to use this port is because it's the only one that has an overflow float underneath it. And this prevents contamination into the house vacuum. Also, remember that before you start collecting waste, you want to have 10% volume of the container be pure bleach so it can begin decontaminating your waste as soon as it starts collecting.